Over the past month, we have been contending with the expectation of the coronavirus outbreak reaching the UK shores. However, it's been quite a shock as to how profound the transformation within our own households has been with regards to ensuring we are doing our utmost to safeguard against the spread of this new contagion. Only a couple of weeks ago, it seemed so remote, and even personally, I felt quite removed from it, reading about it in the media, and now the realization has dawned that this is a major pandemic which is going to transform the lives of many people across the world. It's within the past week or so, we've had measures introduced by the UK government upon what is essentially almost a full lockdown, and decades of behavioural patterns have changed as we've learned to really adapt quickly and change habits within households, and as we seek to remain at home and follow governmental guidelines with regards to social distancing, words which really we were not familiar with but will now be amongst the new vocabulary we will frequently use in the English language. And even lockdown no longer sounds so ghastly as when I remember hearing the word initially, lockdown, you imagine and envisage prison walls, but now the association is more with safety and ensuring that we are each doing our bit to contain this virus and not spread it or affect others, and just mitigate the amount of contact we would have with others. However, within this last week, the last 7 days, life has changed beyond measure and beyond any initial contemplation of how we would have to profoundly change in order to diminish the so-called sombrero peak, and which is envisaged to arrive or to anticipated within the next couple of weeks, as we're just about 3 weeks behind apparently from Italy, according to the chief medical and scientific officers in the UK. So the threat is pending, and we've obviously got to collectively as a society do our best to ensure that we work collectively to diminish the spread of the coronavirus. Now, restrictions were introduced in the UK a couple of weeks ago, really. We were sort of had some warnings, but the real clampdown has only been in effect a couple of days, nearing a week. But it is anticipated, and we have been warned that we should expect to be in it for the long haul. at least for many weeks, disregarding the review in every 3 weeks, or in 3 weeks' time. I think just after Easter Monday would be the first review. But in my opinion, I don't feel that there'll be any sort of major relaxation on the current restrictions imposed. And at the moment, I don't know how many people may be suffering from cabin fever, but at least we are able to still be connected via the internet, and people have been very innovative with regards to remote working and also keeping connected with others. And more so, that's important if individuals have been advised to self-isolate because they convey symptoms of COVID-19. And obviously, with a lot of families, with the school closures, many will be homeschooling and preoccupied with keeping the children not only entertained, but ensuring their schooling is not impacted with the school closures. And that again is potentially difficult because at least there is a degree of consistency in the way that in course delivery, especially now, would have been a very important time for young teenagers who would have been setting their GCSEs and A-levels in preparation for, going on to further education or embarking upon new careers. So this is a period for all generations, young and older, to adapt to these new measures which have been introduced by the government, and we've all had to adapt fairly dramatically in a short time frame. And from businesses to individuals to families to children, the whole nation is actually, and well, the whole world population is now experiencing firsthand the effects of this coronavirus, and we've all have to sort of globally do our bit to ensure that we minimize as best we can the number of deaths, which is a grim figure already, but we have to do our best to ensure that the figures do not decrease more than, increase. Again, it's very, very difficult because until we see a decline in the peak, many more deaths will be announced on the daily news. And as a nation, that even I and I know many others, are tuning in to the daily press conferences held by members of the government, and just to kind of not force reassurance, but just to ensure that we remain informed as to what is happening and what changes are being enacted, because they have come so rapidly and within the last couple of days that within 24 hours we've had to instigate changes within our own household here, as many other families in many nations have had to do as well, in response to governmental guidelines. And again, it shows that nobody is unable to stay unaffected from this virus, as Prince Charles and the Prime Minister Boris Johnson have both recently, within the last few days, been diagnosed with coronavirus or COVID-19, although fortunately they're both only showing minor symptoms, mild symptoms, so that's good news. But even people who are extremely high profile and other government ministers, it shows that this virus affects everybody and does not discriminate at all, and no one is safe from it. And the best advice is really to follow government guidelines, and just to ensure to keep informed and updated regularly with any new measures which may be implemented to try to slow down the spread of COVID-19. So we all need to really just follow the government's advice, at least in the UK, as we have been informed to stay at home in order to save lives.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. You can subscribe to the Comments podcast via iTunes, Spotify, and other major providers.